Hi everybody, it's Kyle. Today I want to talk about something that I was reminded of by my son a couple days ago. My son's car won't pass inspection, and he kept asking me what he should do. And I said, well, you should fix it and get it inspected. He's a big boy. He's a grown man. He's lived in Argentina for 2 years. He's been to college for a year. You know, it's time for him to be the last resort and not turn to me for all these kind of things. You know, it's part of growing up and becoming a man, is you have to figure things out on your own. So it reminded me of a few years back when I was asked to speak at a women's conference. I know that's a little weird for me, but it was speaking to a group of battered women, or women who had been battered at some point. And when I was asked to do it, you know, I have this tendency to say yes to everybody for everything and then figure it out. But this one kind of scared me, because the lady that asked me to speak to this group, I said, yeah, sure. What do you want me to speak on? And she said, you figure it out. And so I thought, okay, I'll figure it out, you know. And as time went by, I got scareder and scareder, because I really don't know. I mean, first of all, I'm a man, and second of all, I've never been in that situation or experienced anything like that, so I don't really know what to say. So I called her and asked her if I could, I said, you know, I don't think it's a good idea. I don't really know what to say. And she said, you'll figure it out. I'll see you there. So she really didn't let me get out of it. But it was pretty interesting, because what I decided to do was speak on how I decided to decide what to speak on. Is that confusing? Yeah, well, it was for me. And here was the situation. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to start. I didn't know how to approach it. So I sat down and I said, okay, you know, what can I do? Well, I started thinking, you know, I can think of things that would be beneficial to them to speak on, processes, or, I mean, I'm kind of a process guy. I like to create steps that you can easily follow and achieve a result. And I kind of got nowhere. And so, you know, I called the smartest woman I've ever met, because I thought, you know, who can I ask? And that was the second step in my process, which was, first one was, what can I do? The second was, who can I ask? So I called my mom, and she said, how the heck am I supposed to know? I don't know what to say. This is a tough one. You're going to have to figure this one out on your own. And I said, what's your suggestion? And she said, well, I bet there's a couple of books on that at the library. Why don't you go over there and look? And it just so happens that's the third question you can ask when you have a problem or you don't know what to do. And that's, what can I read? Because a lot of times there's been a book written on your exact situation. Sometimes there's a whole row of books on your exact situation at the library or over at Barnes & Noble. I've been known to go over to Barnes & Noble for an hour and sit down and scan through 5 or 6 books on a subject and peel out what I like. Maybe buy one, maybe not. Maybe buy a notepad that I can write down the best ideas from all 5 or 6 books I just read or just scanned. By the way, it's beneficial to learn to speed read at some point in your life, because you can really absorb a lot of information fast, and it's very helpful. And so what I ended up speaking on was exactly the process I had just gone through, which is, when you have a problem, there's a normal process you need to go through, and that's what can I do is the first question, and do that. And the second question is, I think the second question should be, what can I read? You know, there could be a book on the subject. And the third question could be, who could I ask? And I suggest you write these down as you go through it. What can I do? Make a list of things you can try. Maybe what works and what doesn't work. What can I read? Write down the books you're reading or the ideas that they give you. And if you still can't figure out your problem, it's time to go ask people. And let me tell you, when you ask people and you show them the work you've done, if you go to somebody like my son who couldn't fix his car, he said, Dad, I'm not really good with cars, so I don't know what I could do. I guess I could open it up and look at it and see if I can figure it out. I've got this code that they gave me when I tried to get it inspected, and I don't know what it means. And I went on YouTube and looked at some videos, and I've looked through the manual to fix my car. So he's read his, and he starts telling me all the things he's done. I looked it up on YouTube, couldn't really find anything, and now I'm asking you. And I said, well, why don't we go ask the guy over at AutoZone? Maybe he can run codes and tell you what they mean. Well, sure enough, he could. He was able to run the codes, he was able to tell us what they mean, and he was able to tell us exactly what parts we needed to replace. So, you know, when my son says, Dad, my car's won't pass inspection, what do I do? I say, I don't know. What do you do? When he comes to me and he says, I've tried this, I've done this, I've looked at this, I've read this, now I'm asking you, and he shows me all the things he's done, you know, a lot of us are much more willing to help when we know people are working at it themselves. The last thing we want to do is go ask somebody right off the bat, right? I mean, they say if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. But if you teach a man a fish, you feed him for a lifetime. So I think most of us want other people, and we want ourselves to learn how to do things so that we just don't continue to go back and ask the same questions. So that's the quick process I want to share with you today. If you have a problem, the process is simple. What can I do? What can I read? And then after you've done all that, who can I ask? And those are the 3 steps. So hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully it's solved every one of my problems my entire life. Some of them I'm still having, but I just haven't read enough or asked enough or done enough. Have a great day. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.